Tip of the hat.
So,
But wait, I was going to ask about the roster.
Mike, why the trade with Noah to Dallas? Did he need a new start, or was this to get a new body in here? What was the thinking there?
You know, that was something that we definitely weren't chasing. We were approached with. There was some interest there, and really, regardless, that it wasn't planned. It wasn't a situation where we were really exploring the idea of not having him on the roster. But when given the opportunity and our specific team with our specific needs, we thought it was both a win for us. And I'm so happy for and really proud of Noah because everybody wants to be a first-round draft pick. And as a 20-year-old, that sounds cool, but there's a burden with that. And what you've seen is a guy grow as a player and as a person. And I think it, being able to be 23 years old and go to a place with a fresh start, specifically with a guy that I've worked with in Dan Quinn, and just knowing his coaching mentality, I think it's a good fit for them. I think it's a good fit for us. So that's how deals are done.
Like Crosson and Sabert to injured reserves.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get clarification. Does that end their season without the possibility of return?
Those are things that you kind of figure out as the week progresses because of the multiple implications within the roster. But it was in both of those players' interest with regard to their injury to go ahead and do that. Which later in the week, I think it's Wednesday night or Thursday, we settle the designated for return players with the accompanied movements.
We thought you had to wait until tomorrow.
I can't remember this is, again, why are we even here? The Chris Greer show's tomorrow. I stay in my lane. And honestly, I told you guys it's the worst part of the year. I shortchanged that. This one, there's a lot of people that we're all very close to that, our journey together may or may not have ended. So, excuse me if my timelines are a little foggy.
I want to ask you about trading away Dan Feeney. Just what went into that decision, and right as of now, who is the backup center to Conor Williams?
So there's that was another situation. We had a couple that kind of came to us, and I think me from a human being standpoint, in this situation as well, knowing Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach, I kind of knew that it was an opportunity that would be good for him and good for us with the return compensation. And in terms of the backup center, there's you guys always sit here and tell me, what's the big deal about OTAs, right? Huh? Do you remember there was a center every play, the first guys up to be working on that and who've been training since OTAs and got invaluable reps throughout will be Liam Eichenberg and Lester Cotton. So we have a good core of players in the interior, and adversity is an opportunity. So remember that next OTAs.
Like about, obviously, long, winding road in your career. Do you impart any of that on these guys when they're let go and talk to them about that stuff?
When it's appropriate, I think it does come up for sure. Just because, that they get, beat over the head with adversity as an opportunity, and that's where it comes from for me is living experience of those things. And just, I I think to be an effective coach, you have to embark on each individual player's journey, and when you do that, it's very easy to understand. The first time that I ever got let go with the Houston Texans, okay, viscerally, I'll never forget. It was the first time. Apparently, that was an impressive answer. We just had a walkout. I'll viscerally never forget, like, I'd been on a team my whole life. And then I remember walking out of Reliance Stadium and, like, wow, who am I? And that identity, although, a player's experience is different than a coach's, I think that there's a commonality in that, which is why it's, very emotional and very, very difficult for me in these times, is because I know exactly what that is. And you wake up, I mean, you are embarking on a invested journey that your mind is goal-oriented to be on the 53 for the Miami Dolphins. And then boom, now what? I don't wish that on anybody. It's as Uncharted Territory is like one of the unknown is like one of the greatest sources of stress. Like it's science, like it's been studied, and it is a feeling that I don't wish on anyone. However, I do feel like there's certain times that it's very, very appropriate to share that with guys, because you can see it on people's faces when I didn't even see this coming, or what do I do now? And it's brutal. So it comes up. I think that's an important part. It's not about living exactly in someone's shoes. It's being able to connect shared or experiences that might render residual feelings that are similar. So, again, I mean it. This is brutal. There's more deserving. There's more than 53 deserving people to be on this football team, but there's only 53 spots, and I pressed upon the locker room today, like, part of your grieving of your brethren that isn't here is doing right by them, because they sure wish they were.
Like, as it stands, I believe you only have 3 safeties on the 53, and Brandon really hasn't practiced much. Are you comfortable with that? And as in addition to the post cut down day kind of roster shuffling with IR, do you anticipate adding another safety?
I think it would be safe to say that you don't feel completely safe with 2 little safeties. Okay, I would anticipate something. There's a lot of ways now that your roster can be set up with regard to since COVID year, the 16-player practice squad and the flexibility and things of that nature. So there's some depth issues that will be solidified by some practice squad members, maybe some activity. I mean, shoot, tune in for the Chris Greer show tomorrow. Who knows what you'll find out.
Mike, how stressful is it from the organization standpoint when you make a move today and you're hoping that you can get a guy through waivers, or you're hoping that a guy will be available tomorrow or down the line?
It's you can't make moves under any sort of assumption either way. You have to be very, very calculated, and knowing that you are taking a risk, and that's inherent in all of it. It's bittersweet because you would love to have additional players, specifically the guys that you've been with, that they know your system and you're invested with. However, teammates, the organization itself, you can't spend too much time getting down for someone's dream to be realized. So it's conflicting. It is measured and calculated, but it comes with inherent risk. So it's I'm very much the optimist, but I just flip the role in these situations. I kind of turn to a pessimist with regard to just very, very ready for that to happen. That's a real thing, and players aren't really a secret that much.
Can you talk about the 3 undrafted rookies that make the team? Brandon Peely, Julian Hill, and Chris Brooks. What they showed you.
By heart, still got it. You want that? So that is the journey. That is the hardest, most difficult to navigate that really exists. You go 0 to 60 from college to professional, and then you get here and you are stacked underneath guys that have been doing it professionally in the scheme or on the stage for an extended period of time, and it can look insurmountable. Especially, you have your first your rookie mini camp, and you're like, man, I'm pretty good, and then you get to a practice with your whole team, and you're like, whoa. So undrafted free agents that are able to make a 53-man roster, they that in it of itself, I think I crushed that. That by itself really is such a monumental task that so few people can undertake. Promise nothing, and really just behind the 8 ball. It's like if I went to a foreign country, could I speak fluently in a month and a half or however long? That's tough to do. But every year there's certain guys that you're really trying to find that have that mental fortitude to really accomplish something like that. Very huge accomplishment that that really all the teammates really appreciate. You want to see an excited locker room. It's seeing an undrafted rookie free agent on the 53, because most of the time they're breathing a sigh of relief, because if they're even in consideration, they've made waves in practice and preseason games, and to see that goal, all of their $5,000 or $10,000 signing bonus, and just really doing stuff for the right reasons and learning fast. It's a cool process for everybody involved, and a lot of respect given to those 3 and many other rookies that hopefully will join us.
My sense last week when we asked you about Jonathan Taylor was you were trying to tell us something between the lines. Was there ever a point that you thought that it might happen, or was it always just something that was not attainable?
So, honestly, I spend 0 time, except when I answer questions about it, when I can half see your face because your phone's covering the rest of it. It's again structured that way for a reason. When things are serious enough, it comes to my plate. But when you're very happy with the players that you're coaching, know that they're capable of making a ton of plays, and you have a lot of guys that you're going with on a journey. just trying to get them better every day. I spend zero time thinking or forecasting, and just trigger ready if Chris comes knocking on my door for whatever reason. But that hasn't been a part of my life really in the last since you've asked me.
Mike, just a question kind of out of nowhere, which isn't a surprise considering the source.
It's you.
Yes, exactly. You told us that you asked Tyreek about acquiring Eli Apple. If Tyreek would have said no, you guys just move on, and would that be the case for Jonathan Taylor, or would that be the case for any other? Let me take him out of it. Would that be the case for any other high-profile player you might attain?
I think you hit the nail on the head in that's something that is important to me. That Eli Apple example is a great one, where when you're adding someone to the team, you want to know its residual effect on the team, because it's not just you're adding a player to the team, but it's about the team. So when there's questions that are obvious or maybe pseudo not obvious, but they're position coaches on our team, the personnel staff, the training staff, the strength staff. Our jobs are to invest in these players, and when you invest in people, you can learn a ton about them, especially when you're not on your phone. Okay, and in that, if there's something that you can connect dots to, shame on me if I enter into something that might shake the locker room up in an adverse way. That's kind of our jobs as Chris and I look at it, to build a team, coach a team, and make sure that team is as good as it possibly can be. So that things like that always factor in.
Earlier when we were talking about getting released from a team and that feeling of not being part of a team, someone who went through that was here a few minutes ago, Zach Sieler, and now you saw him get rewarded the way he did. Can you just describe your feelings about seeing him get rewarded and why he was able to overcome the way he did and be such an important part of the team?
The absolute climax of the coaching experience. It is everything, because to watch someone go to sustain what that is, that body blow that is to be released from a team, to battle against the human nature that is, am I good enough? The fortitude to keep pressing forward for the right reasons, the belief it takes in oneself, all of that, and to see someone come out the other side. We're so fortunate to have Zach, and we were so fortunate to be able to extend him for 3 years. And there's one thing with guys like that. Every piece of the pie was earned, and that is a testament, a living testament that we have in-house now, a great example of perseverance that you can always resource and point out. I brought it up the other day. I think my last team meeting with the 90-man roster is before you go into a world where this is all or nothing. I asked, Raheem Mostert, how many times have you been cut? Zach Sieler, how many times have you been cut? And that's everything, because that you don't go through this world of NFL football unscathed. And, you know, it's not a coincidence that I say adversity is an opportunity every 2 minutes, because it's always there. But if you can control what you can control, you have a chance to be the best version of yourself and live after football with no regrets.
Thank you. Appreciate it.